Hi listeners, welcome to my channel. On 30th of October at 5:53 a.m. Eastern Time, Sun in Scorpio will square Saturn in Aquarius at 7°11'. This aspect would be repeated on 10th of November with Mercury and Mars in Scorpio, and it is very much the part of the process involving the 4th or 5th November's impulsive Scorpio new moon. Impulsive and Scorpio. That's one misnomer. Yes, that's why this process of detaching from a fixed part of our life is not going to be so easy. We have spent the whole year on this push and pull where to detach from an old phase of our life which has become our old reality. We have been trying to overcome our own resistance, and now that resistance comes to a head with this aspect playing off right now, and then again in the aftermath of 4th and 5th of November new moon. The 4th or 5th of November new moon is bound to come with some surprises and fireworks of economic, political and emotional nature. Change is not easy. Not in the fixed parts of our life, because they are linked to our sustenance. They seem to be our source of sanity, or so we have been telling ourselves. Today, after a brief overview, we would cover for each zodiac sign what is this resistance that you and me are working through before we get to that snap moment of impulsive move that is the Scorpio new moon. This would be in podcast format with timestamps for each zodiac sign. Don't forget to leave me a note if you relate to it. My name is Charu. I'm your host on this journey. Let's begin. Nodes will change sign in January of 2022 with South Node moving into Scorpio after 19 years. The next year and a half, eclipses will now happen in Taurus and Scorpio, and with the South Node in Scorpio, we would be detoxing or releasing or detaching from certain patterns which are well ingrained in our life in Scorpio parts of our chart, which I would discuss today. We will cultivate some new patterns selflessly without expecting them to buoy us up, because that's the process, and things that are as old as the word boy, well, they don't fit into who we are becoming. This is our road to drama-free life, which comes with some drama. First wave is going to hit us with evaluation of the resistance within, which is blocking us from becoming who we need to be. And we'll face that resistance head on 30th of October and 10th of November. Second wave is more of an impulsive one, a more of a snap out of it energy, just do it energy, which comes with the 4th or 5th of November new moon, and pretty much the whole period post 12th of November, which would be marked with volatility and maybe even physical violence in some cases to snap out of an old existence. Higher the resistance, more the snap. The earlier degrees will feel the snap more, as Uranus currently is making its retrograde mid-cycle around 12 degrees, creating a situation where a way out is shown, but it comes at a cost, and that cost will be shown by Saturn around 7 or 8 degrees on 30th of October and 10th of November. The early degrees of fixed signs will feel the snappiness or the suddenness of this change much more as compared to the later degrees, because the later degrees of the zodiac signs, especially of the fixed signs, they have more support from Neptune and Pluto through others in our life, and even from Jupiter, though sometimes Jupiter will make us do too much of it. It will make us go beyond our limits, and we need to be a little bit careful of going overboard 15th, 20th of November and 8th of December. Especially if we have fixed signs around 23 to 26 degree. That's what these Saturn checkpoints are for. They are important because they let us know if there's something that we are missing out that we need to take into consideration before we take that leap, before we go for that impulsive move. Resistance is a chance to be sure. Criticism or even restriction from an authority or a negative reaction from another is a sign of our own doubt, which is best handled now versus later when we have dived in, because that's the thing with fixed sign changes. They come rare, but they stay for a very long time and they are irrevocable. But over the course of next 2 years, we would find our own way to be stable in face of transformative changes, even ride the wave with some gains. We would proactively choose simplicity, honesty, and respect over drama, intensity, and neediness. Channel our intensity into practical pursuits of value. Find our still point in the chaos. Very few things will rattle us after the process of North Node in Taurus and South Node in Scorpio that we are about to embark upon for the next 2 years. This checkpoint and the upcoming lunations in November, they are the first step to it. Know that Scorpio new moon could be a new phase coming to replace what went down in May 2015 for you. This is a parallel of November, December 2002. So if you're old enough to recall, though nothing is exactly the same, but the patterns of growth from these periods of our life, May of 2015 and November or December of 2002, they could re-emerge in November. Now let's explore by sign which hurdle or resistance each of us are trying to transcend or learn more from before we ride the impulsive roller coaster. That's the 4th or the 5th of November new moon. Let's begin by sign now. Aries, the Scorpio new moon, it comes with a new phase of transformation in our life, which could be in form of a new partnership, new terms of partnership, going in deeper financially or emotionally in partnership in a connection which runs in karmic patterns for you traditionally. Traditionally, these relationships, these partnerships, they tend to have an imbalance in them. Now we are trying to purge that pattern of the past and go in deeper financially or emotionally in a connection, in a business partnership or a personal partnership in a new way. This is a new move, possibly in investments, in intimacy, in income from inheritance, divorce, stocks, loans, untraditional sources of income which we earn from others in form of royalties, in form of commissions, in form of proceeds from partnerships. It could also be a deep psychological or financial practice that you're about to set up that needs mastery and you're going fully deep into it. Our life would be profoundly changed with this call, and it needs a lot of willpower as well as spiritual faith to go in. This new moon would specially play out for 13 degree of Aries or around 3rd of April born who would feel the impact beyond the 2 weeks. But Aries, the long-term dream or the vision or the hopes of gains that we have for our life, which we've been working on seeding all of this year, they might be inhibiting you from taking this call. They might be seemingly blocking our ability to go in deeper into this karmic transformative chapter of our life. Before you can tie that knot, before you can sign that contract, before you can get into that investment or go ahead with a new start, a new equation with a significant other, there is something within you which is new, which was seeded in name of a vision, in name of a goal, which might be screaming, I deserve more than what I'm being offered from this partnership and I want more. This could be a conflict which shows you that you're not asking for your true worth or the right kind of returns from that partnership. It can show you an imbalance in give and take in the partnership that needs to be fixed before you go in. This could be a conflict which comes through a friend, an elder, a sibling, or a criticism which comes from somebody externally, a fan or a socially influential person, which might be external manifestation of your own doubt on this move, which might show up on 30th of October or 10th of November. Taking on a debt or a loan or a karmic liability, they might not be potentially good for your vision, for the gains that you might be working for your future right now. Now, this blockage will make you stop and rethink that investment, that joint matter, that partnership. Saturn, Jupiter this year, they have seeded a new ambition, a new vision, a new goalpost for you. We discussed that in depth in the last reading with you. I'll leave the link in the description. Both in terms of your social influence as well as monetary gains, they have asked you to look at a new way of being. The contracts that you sign, the give and take in partnerships that you are going to establish, they cannot ignore the end goal which you have established for yourself, which is your long-term legacy that you are planning. This could mean that we need to rework the terms of partnership, review that investment in more depth, or tighten the terms of the partnership so we are not left stranded. Just because of the speed or the excitement of things, we might be missing out on some details, and that is what this resistance which is showing up on 30th of October or 10th of November is showing us. The new balance of give and take that you're establishing, it needs to be based on a futuristic vision of where your life needs to go versus where you have been. So the old rule book needs to be replaced when it comes to how we ask for the right returns of our partnerships, investments, and the returns on our relationships. Use this delay to be sure that you're getting your right share and get the terms right. This can also sometimes show our inner pattern, which could be fear or negative thinking or past baggage, which blocks us from making it big. When it comes to our vision, when it comes to our expression, when it comes to giving ourselves fully to our tribe, to our friends, expressing ourselves fully on social media, or gaining from our investments. A fixed way of thinking of our life, what we deserve, our inner complexes, sometimes of anger, addiction to a certain kind of partnerships, or not speaking up openly about our wants, or a specific karmic pattern or not that runs through our relationship, they might be blocking our abundance, our vision, and our ability to connect effectively with others. And that needs to be irrevocably changed. Scorpio season Aries is for detox for you. And you might be shown an emotional pattern when it comes to connecting with others that needs to be irrevocably changed for you to progress forward. The resistance within of what's possible for us, it will show up in the way of our ability to powerfully connect with others. And someone else might be blocking us or our gains seemingly, but it's actually our own inner resistance, our own inhibition to put our foot down, sometimes in partnerships and relationships, or being clear of our requirements and demands when it comes to joint relationships that might be coming in the way of realizing our goals and visions and hopes and dreams. Our hopes, dreams, and realization of them will depend on overcoming these patterns. The resistance within of what's possible for us will show up in way of someone else blocking our gains. No more junk in food, no more junk in thoughts, no more junk in imbalance of partnership, in investments that are not fair to us. If we are to be all we can be and all we are here to deliver socially and economically, we need to actively purge our shadows in November and move forward more powerfully when it comes to joint situations. More importantly, we need to move forward more simply, more lightly, dropping some complexity of self-expression when it comes to joint partnerships, being clear on them. What could have been, what was, it needs to be left behind. When we move forward on joint matters, we need to detox that. What blocks us from socially merging with others could be that very past pattern, or maybe even a past loss or a past joint matter which went wrong, which is inhibiting us from moving more fully when it comes to our social influence, when it comes to our social goals, when it comes to making new friends, when it comes to socially engaging with others and gaining from our associations. What inner complexes block us from our social growth even our material gains, what blocks us from asking our fair share in partnerships, we need to look into those blockages, and conflict might show us, or a restraint or a delay might show us where those patterns sit. We need to be sure if it is a karmic debt or a connection that we are entering into, that the terms are fair. And if we are in the habit of not stating what we want in these partnerships, that pattern needs to be overcome to reach the kind of vision, influence, impact that we're gunning for. Around 7 degree of Aries or 28th of March born Aries Sun would feel the pressure the most right now, though this would benefit all of us in the coming weeks and months. That's what I have for you, Aries. I'll see you in the next reading now. Hi Taurus. Taurus, the impulsive new moon of 4th or 5th of November will bring a transformative phase in your partnerships, your connections, the kind of commitments that you make, or the legal contract or the financial contract that you undergo into, or the partners that you go for. They might be going for a significant change. This is an impulsive new start in a partnership, in a connection, in marriage, in intimacy, in legal contracts, in financial contracts, or a change in your partner's income, which might be becoming more volatile or different or untraditional in some way. This would specifically play out for around 13 degree of Taurus or around 4th of May born, who will feel the impact beyond the 2 weeks. Before we take that impulsive dive on 4th or 5th of November, there might be a reconsideration at your end, because Saturn and Jupiter, they are trying to expand your career. They've been working on sowing a new seed of long-term growth in your career, but those aspirations may not be in line with the impulsive move you're about to make. This new phase in partnership, relationship, contract, or commitment, it might require you to overcome a hurdle or inhibition which comes from that path you have laid down when it comes to your long-term growth in your career. The aspirations may be different completely. They might be structurally different, or a balance needs to be had when it comes to being a supportive partner, being a career person, or being a son or a daughter, and being a husband or a wife or a business partner. There is a imbalance that is shown. There is some amount of compromise or imbalance that is shown between being successful in the books of everybody else in the world and being successful with those who matter the most to you, between the external title that you desire and the long-term career or the social goals that you have, which may not be in sync with us. Sometimes the title that we want, it does not fit in with the kind of partnerships, relationships, or the client connections, or the impulsive behavior sometimes, or the freedom that we seek when it comes to a contract. It may not be in line with the kind of abundance, the kind of strength, the kind of power that we want in our career. There could be a conflict which could be avoiding us, which can come in our face. It could be a conflict with an adversary or a critic or a partner, which can come head on with the 30th of October and the 10th of November conflict. But that very conflict will show you your own inner inhibition between the seeking freedom and wanting abundance through structural growth in your career that you're wanting. There could be a shift which is needed in how we manage our partnerships, our relationships, our opponents, our critic, and our business one-on-one relationships. And in some ways, how we handle that conflict could be critical to our career growth. To be the kind of success you want to be in your life path, in your social life, this change in approach and this possible new phase in your partnerships and connection, or this new client, it might be critical. But this would run deeper than the conflict at hand, because it can show you the doubts you have on the career you pursue, or even the personal title you seek in your partnership, in your marriage, in your connection, and the kind of commitment or the loss of freedom that comes with that kind of career or that kind of personal title. Apart from the obvious fight between the work and life, This could be a broader conflict between your need for freedom and your need to materially progress in your life or in your social goals. This pressure would be especially felt by around 7 degree of Taurus or around 28th of April born. In some rare cases, a sudden change in financial contract or an impulsive kind of financial contract or a sudden change in partner's income or a sudden partnership which might come in, or suddenly you're going into a marriage, it might conflict with long-term life path program that you had for yourself. So it's possible that we might decide to elope or do something completely impulsive or change the kind of financial contracts that we are going into, and that is not in line with the well laid out plan you had for your career, and that could show up as a criticism or a conflict with somebody in authority, or a conflict between your parents, your obligation to your parents, your obligation to your family, your obligation to your career, to your bosses, versus the impulsive call you want to take when it comes to that partnership, when it comes to that change of financial contract, when it comes to making those connections in a different fashion. You will be very, very driven to take sort of a leap which is away from your normal call, but there is something that is holding you back, which is the traditional way of growing in your career, and you'll have to both meet them halfway. Tie in your commitments with your aspirations of future. They do need to meet each other halfway. It doesn't mean that we ignore the inhibitions, because the impulsiveness will be very high, especially after 12th of November. But before we go in full in with it, you are a Taurus. So there might be some pressures which make us surer of where do we want to go. Is this the kind of relationship, partnerships, financial contract, legal contract, or a relationship that we want to be in long term? You are being asked to balance your career aspirations, your social aspirations, the title that you seek in the world, and the kind of commitment, partnerships, pattern in relationships, pattern in connecting with the clients that you would like to have, the kind of freedom you are seeking in your connections, in your commitments, in your professional and personal contract. They might be in conflict with what you traditionally want, or what you want in the future as well, in terms of your career goals and your social goals. And that is what this resistance is about. We'll have to meet the two halfway. Our aspirations, social and personal, as well as our commitments, social and personal. We do need to meet each other halfway. That's what I have for you, Taurus. I'll see you in the next reading now. Hi Gemini. Gemini, the Scorpio new moon, it brings a new start in your work environment and health routines. This could be very transformative and healing as we start a new work environment, a new job, a new service, a new project, and we birth something for more balance in our life. Create a team or a group to support us, to work with us on an aspirational goal, or recheck our team, our co-workers, our work practices or work environment or career altogether. This new moon plays out especially for around 13th degree of Gemini or around 4th of June born, who will feel the impact beyond the 2 weeks. Gemini, this whole year we have been working on seeding a new adventure, an expansive journey of your life which would define the next phase of your life goal, a path of self-expression, the person who's there with the unique knowledge that is you, who's putting it all out there on a platform. It's all done in phases and it's all very exciting, but all of it does have a practical side. Maybe it's time now to have the practical implementation of that expansive vision that you've been working on seeding throughout this year. And it's different, isn't it? The implementation is very different from the expansive dream. So this moment, which is this new moon and November, it comes with the pressure to get down deep and in detail to make those changes. But we can get very lost in the details and almost lose the excitement and the joy of it, which is your resistance, I believe, in the moment. And on 10th of November, hunker down. These are few moments before the excitement when real work gets done on 30th of October and 10th of November. Temporarily, it might feel that the adventure is blocked or the travel is blocked due to work or due to issues or due to co-workers. Higher mind can be blocked by the details or the problems or sometimes even health concerns. It creates a sober mood, but it also creates focus and productivity. Don't let this become a source of doubt in your vision, because the slowdown sometimes is to be sure and not to abandon the adventure that we started. A change in work environment, a change in co-workers, a change in supportive co-workers, or a change or an impulsive or a sudden change that happens in your work environment, in a project, or a sudden turn of events when it comes to your job, your work environment, your work routines, your health, or co-workers who were supporting you, they lead to a better approach to work. They lead to a better approach to health. They lead to a further balance in work and health through a change that happens, which could be impulsive, it could be surprising when it comes to a co-worker, when it comes to your work environment, when it comes to somebody who was supporting you at work, when it comes to certain surprises in a project of transformative nature that you were working on. A better daily routine to balance your work with your health can emerge. Any negative annoyances that are though going deeper than your daily annoyances, they might be showing you your own inner doubt on your ability to pull this through. And it could be manifested in form of a conflict with a co-worker or someone criticizing or dampening your expansive vision by digging holes in it. That's sometimes our own inner resistance showing up externally in form of a person. Holes are good. They make the boat safer in long run and makes us ride that boat a little bit longer. Don't forget that no amount of scientific analysis, though, can make everything foolproof. The faith and the belief are still key ingredients to your success. Balance the vision that you have, the broad vision, the adventurous vision, the publication, the broader knowledge dispensation and the expansion plan that you have with the future. Balance that with the practical implementation. That's the hindrance we're feeling. Find cosmic significance in everyday problems that are coming in the way to your destination, and they could be coming with a bit of surprise with the 4th or 5th of November new moon, along with the volatility that follows around 12th of November. Ideological conflict with co-workers or critics or even in-laws, they can create the strain or the pressure that we sometimes need to stress test something that we are launching before we dive in or before we go live with the changes. This strain, which is a boon in disguise, is most likely felt by around 7 degree of Gemini or around 29th of May born. Remember, if there is a health issue that is highlighted or a pressure is created when it comes to your health, it is an indication that we need more balance, more boundaries, better coordination between our health and work balance, better boundaries when it comes to who's managing the day-to-day duties and responsibilities. So that's what I have for you, Gemini. I hope this was helpful. I'll see you in the next reading now. Hi Cancer. Cancer, the new moon in Scorpio seeds a passion, a love, a new phase in life of your children, or you giving birth to someone or something that you're really passionate about, a new phase in your own childlike joy, a creative venture, a business investment, all matters of the heart where you're taking an impulsive risk on yourself and your joy as well as your own God-given or higher-given talents. This new moon especially influences around 13 degree of Cancer or around 5th of July born who would feel the impact beyond the 2 weeks. There will be some surprises when it comes to this passionate project or this new leap that you're taking, which is full of love, passion, risk-taking, but it comes at a cost, and that is the very hindrance that we are evaluating around 30th of October and then again on 10th of November. A new start in business venture, risk-taking of the heart, of business, love, children, passions, creativity, they all come at the cost of something. Love demands depth, Children cost money. Joy demands detox of junk from our life. Creativity requires facing our own dark complexes. Investment risk requires deep study. Tortured poets and begging creatives, they look great in stories, but you have no ambition to become one. You want the returns that you deserve of the risks that you're taking, whether they are in life, in business, or in love. So the pressure that's created right now and would be on 10th of November is the pressure of getting that equation right, so our impulses don't get the best of us. So we deal with the matters that truly also matter to us, like the returns, the money part of it, the sex and the intimacy when it comes to partnerships, the returns of relationships, partnerships, before we dive in impulsively into them. Saturn and Jupiter, all of this year, they've been trying to seed a new equation of give and take when it comes to partnerships for you. We don't want to forego all of that long-term changes due to a moment of gratification that's tempting. It doesn't mean that we don't dive in, but we have to use this opportunity or even delay to evaluate on 30th of October and 10th of November. Am I getting my fair share? Does the intimacy come with depth? Does the investment I'm making, does it have a chance of returns? Does this creative venture have a promise of yield? It might seem like our flow of life or passion, love, creativity, and spontaneity is being blocked in the moment because of some practical considerations, especially if they are related to debt, finances, a loan that we have, or some amount of karmic debt we have with another, or our own complexes. It's both. It's some safety measures that are essentially needed, which are stopping us, and our instincts are telling us to not settle for less than what we deserve. But some of the safety measures are defunct of old patterns and old thinking that is blocking our fresh infusion of joy and energy and risk taking, because we are still licking some old losses and old wounds. We don't need to glamorize our self-destructive patterns, which will come to surface. But yes, if your senses, if your intuition, if your spidey senses are telling you something is not fair for you, pause and evaluate those risks before jumping in with this new moon and the impulsive energy that will follow after 12th of November. This pressure, which is a boon because it adds an element of practicality in decision making, is felt the most by around 7 degree of Cancer, which is around 29th of June born. So that's what I have for you, Cancer. I'll see you in the next reading now. Thank you. Hi Leo. Leo, the new moon in Scorpio is a critical one for you because it brings a new start on your critical axis. It brings a new start in home, family, place of living, and a detox of an old emotional pattern or family karma or home, and a phase of new healing, new real estate opportunity, a home business, or an enhancement of family property, which can be transformative and healing for you. This will come with some amount of personal surprises, some amount of impulsiveness on your part. This will especially influence around 13 degree of Leo or around 5th of August born, who will feel the impact beyond the 2 weeks. Leo, this will come with some amount of hindrance where you'll have to manage the balance between your security, what you're doing for yourself, and the obligation you have to the others in your life. The obligation that you have to your professional and your personal partners, or the duties that you have to a business contract that you are in. An impulsive move on your part might be hindered by that commitment or the duty that you have to another. Leos, you're always looking for safety, security, warmth, food, deep connection during the Scorpio season that we have till November, but it all comes with the promise of it, but it also comes with a commitment. It comes with a new way of creating the right boundaries with the others of your life, which you'll have to put to test with the hindrance that's coming on 30th of October and 4th of November. The promise of safety safety, security, warmth, a new start in your personal life also comes with a challenge of what you have been doing throughout this year, which is laying down a new way, a new balance of creating the right boundaries with the others of your life. You started seeding a new pattern of connection, a new way of being when it comes to partners, clients, and connections, so they can stop draining you out and become a source of growth or even gains for you long term. It's possible that you seeded a contract, a commitment, a connection this year which will help you in your growth for the long term, or you might have changed the pattern, the boundaries that you have in your partnerships, so they can start being a source of growth for you instead of draining you out. And it was not easy, but you have to admit that your connections and patterns and relationships, they have come a long way from where they were. Now, how do you rest in your fortress of solitude that you need to do in Scorpio season when you have created this new obligation, this new give and take with others instead of just cutting them out? A connection with others, a commitment or duties or clients, they can come in the way of this new phase of emotional fulfillment or the volatility that you face in your personal life, or a new home, family, or peaceful phase that you seek in your personal life. You have worked very hard on the partnerships, on the clients, on the connections, on getting the contracts right. You worked hard to get the boundaries right in your partnerships. But now we need to show that they work when you need the time for the me. Those boundaries, those rules that you have laid down, that rule book is coming for implementation through some stress, through some hindrance, through some conflict on 10th of November and 30th of October. A new phase begins in how we handle our relationship, especially in our personal life, how we manage our needs, how we express them, and how we ask for what we need in partnerships to feel fulfilled. We start a new phase in home, family, place of living, which might be far from our old comfort zone, but this new equation is so much better versus where we were. This will lead to some emotional vulnerability. We'll need to cross that hurdle of handling that partner, that contract, that commitment, that karmic duty that we have, that client or that contract that we have head on, boldly placing your needs very openly in front of them when those boundaries, those rules that you have laid down, they are impinged upon. Self-sacrifice is a no-win situation. You cannot fill anyone's cup if yours is empty. You are the sun, the one source of all vitality that is. Magnanimous is very different from being a pushover, and you have learned that the hard way. So use this pressure to set a new tradition. Each one of us starts a new kind of family, a new kind of personal pattern, a new kind of parenting, a new pattern of feeling at home. And also be sure that the pattern that is irking you so much in a partnership is of the current situation and the current partnership, and it is not the past which is building up, or worse, that you're carrying an inherited pattern which is defunct. You are not your father. You are not your mother. You are your own person with your own set of complexes which are enough to handle on their own. So know when to put down the load which is not yours to carry. You might be carrying a karmic load when it comes to a traditional pattern or a duty that you're fulfilling, and it needs to be detoxed or let out from your life. Know when an inherited pattern or an old loss in another relationship is coming in the way of effectively managing a new contract, a new partnership, or a new way of being in relationship. Recognize where the past, especially your family past of your own parents, is coloring your future connections, relationships, where your family parents is hindering your ability to go effectively full on in a relationship with a partner, with a business partner, a personal partner, your commitment or your growth in relationship is being hindered by your parental pattern, by your home, traditional home, or by the obligations that you seem to be carrying, which are inherited in nature. You'll have to take your own rule book of connections, relationships, family traditions for a drive on this conflict path of 30th of October and 10th of November. This could be a contract possibly on real estate investment, home renovation, a complete change when it comes to who and what you call as home. That comes with a bit of surprise with the 4th or 5th of November new moon. And then again after 12th of November, you'll be reworking your inner connections essentially with yourself. And in that, you'll have to balance, how do I connect with others? How do I handle the contracts? How do I handle amendments? Say if you're going in for a surprise contract real estate investment, how effectively do I handle the terms of that partnership effectively, so I can be fulfilled, so I can take some impulsive calls when it comes to my own fulfillment. This is you fighting for your own security versus the obligations you have to another. But in the process of that, there are some parts of your own emotional patterns that need to be detoxed to be effective in your partnerships as well that are coming to light. Scorpio season is all about detoxing. If there is a family pattern, a past that you're carrying, or an inherited obligation that you're carrying that is blocking you from being successful with clients, in your professional contracts, in your personal relationships, you have to recognize and release them as part of the Scorpio season as well. This pressure, which is happening on 30th of October and then again on 10th of November, will be felt the most by around 7 degrees of Leo, which is around 31st of July born. So that's what I have for you, Leo. Hope this was helpful. I'll see you in the next reading now. Thank you. Hi Virgo. Virgo, the Scorpio new moon, it brings a new phase in your commercial life and could be through a impulsive launch of a commercial project, a contract which is transformative and different from the norm, and it needs a lot of psychological strength, a lot of deep thought, intense talks, or financial discussion. There's an element of surprise that can come, a surprising communication or a surprising connection that might come up, and this influences especially around 13 degree of Virgo or around 5th of September born, who will feel the impact and the influence of this transformative communication, connection, a contact or a contract beyond the 2 weeks. This could be a new transformative contract which could be very different from the norm or very different from what you normally go into. But in the moment, you might be feeling blocked mentally, verbally, or commercially. This blockage is a slowdown or even a criticism that might be faced on 30th of October or 10th of November, making what you're producing more valuable but through some stress. Maybe they are asking you not to lose your balance, which you frequently lose when speeding ahead, or losing your health and peace of mind. Saturn and Jupiter this year, they're forcing you to put down a new order, a new balance of your life, a new project or work life or career, which would become a source of your long-term growth and abundance. You become a one-stop shop though sometimes, and we cannot operate like that long-term. So this pressure that is building, it might be pushing you to set a pattern which can bring more balance in your life long-term. But in the process, you might be becoming even more detailed person, even more Virgo in your perfection, which is great, but we have something we must get out in time. I believe there's something which might be time sensitive that is coming in November for you, and it is a little bit annoying at that time to get more Virgo about it. I know it's not just me, you feel it too sometimes, because we need to balance out getting something out versus getting something right at the moment. Use the pressure and the current moment and 10th of November to get the details right, but don't lose sight of the plot. Narrow down the ideas, the approach. Remove the chaff from the wheat in your communication project, commercial terms, commercial ideas, contracts, or even social associations or distractions on 10th of November and 30th of October. But this messaging, this idea, the thoughts that you have, they need to be given physical form and launched. We would have to overcome our inhibition to speak up, to launch, to go live, whether everything is fully ready or not to the Virgo perfection. The kind of work success that you're looking for requires many, many connections, more speaking up, changed approach in communication, more media appearances, commercializations, connections. We are on the verge at all, and November will offer you opportunity to grow all of that. But getting the details right is what might be blocking you, or your own complexes of speaking up might be blocking you. Maybe we need a change in approach on how we communicate with our co-workers, because everything does not have to be 100% correct to get it out. Our project team members or our critics, how well we advertise our skills, all of that might be in for a little bit of change. We might even need some amount of training sometimes. There are some skill sets that you're undergoing, or some amount of selling, or a contract, or a very unique project that you might be embarking upon, which actually needs some amount of new skills, and that might get highlighted to you either through a blockage or through a critic or through a co-worker around 30th of October and 10th of November. It could actually be an issue with a co-worker, or conflict with a co-worker, or some critical person coming in your life, or some amount of your own inner criticality which is playing out, which might just be cautioning you that we need to do more work before we jump in. Maybe the contract needs a detailed look. Maybe the work that you're doing, it needs more hunkering down, sitting down with it versus what you have done so far. You like it to be more perfect. So use those dates, 10th of November and 30th of October, to not show stop, but to perfect what you're doing to some extent. Don't let it get you down mentally. Know that it's hunkering you down, so it's done well, but it's also hunkering you down so it's done, versus just a thought and a thought and a thought without a result. Find this balance of being commercially viable and being the perfectionist that you are, being of value and service to the others in your life, being the problem solver that you are, but not shying away from singing the songs of your own capabilities and your own abilities. Speaking up when you have an idea in a structured way, and leveraging the skills of your co-workers, even critics, to make what you're creating more valuable commercially. This is the balance of being right and getting it done, being a problem solver of the world and being commercially successful, that you're trying to strike with this inhibition or a hindrance or even a conflict that you might face on 10th of November and 30th of October. This new phase in your life requires you to be the master of both, master of getting it all right and getting it all commercially viable. That's why the pressure, which is really a discipline of the mind that we are being gifted. This discipline or pressure which would be felt most is for around 7 degree of Virgo, or around 1st of September born, who will feel the pressure the most, because Saturn is right now playing out of those degrees and is just trying to create a better balance between the details and the commerciality or the practicality of implementation of your doing. In the process of it, it's also trying to strike a balance between your work and health, so you don't run your body down when you're doing something so frantically or so much with a speed that you're not compromising your well-being, your peace and your health in the process to it. So that's what I have for you, Virgo. Hope this was helpful. I'll see you in the next reading now. Thank you. Hi Libra. Libra, the Scorpio new moon brings a new investment, a new source of income, a shared resource, a loan into focus. This is a financial matter which can come into focus, which can be a bit bold and impulsive. There could also be a financial surprise or a financial move or a financial contract, or going in together with somebody financially that might come into focus with this Scorpio new moon in November. Libra, but a new phase in abundance, it comes with some hesitation or inhibition in risk taking. Is it worth it? Does it come at the cost of my passions? Am I leaving behind enough for my next generation? Does it have longevity or not? There are some reconsiderations, and that is what you might be in the process of. Saturn, Jupiter in your house of passions or risk taking this year, they have sown a new seed in how you take risk, and it's possible that you have been in the process of a new phase this whole year when it comes to passion, self-expression, love, taking a little bit more risk in life, creativity, business risk-taking, creative risk-taking, creating a new rule book of how you want the benefits from the risk that you're taking, being forced as well in some ways to stand up for yourself and take more risk, but more calculated risk. Be seen more, taking risk more in life, in love and business. But now we have a financial opportunity which can be impulsive, non-traditional, a new start in income, a new start in what feels like a volatile but a new abundance, or dare I say even hope and gratification. But the new rule book of risk-taking you have been writing all of this year, the new boundaries you have been creating around how much risk you take on your passions, they block you from just doing and going for it without thinking through. There is always value in delays and inhibitions of this sort before you just do it. There are risk returns to be seen if this is a financial call, especially. It may be an asset class or an income source which you're not used to. It could be untraditional, it could have hidden risk that you need to consider, and that is what this blockage and delay might be allowing you to do, and that is what we are supposed to do on 30th of October and 10th of November. Hunker down and figure out the detail of it. Doesn't mean that we don't go for it, but it does mean that we need more due diligence, more detailed look, what is what in these moments of overcoming the resistance. Sometimes the returns of investments need to be seen in a different way altogether as compared to what we are used to. If you're seeding something long term this year for your next generation, for love, for passion, for creativity, for children, it may come at a cost. It may come at the cost of your ego, it may come at the cost of cost, which is money, or it might require investment in upgrading your skill set, or it may require you to go for sources of income which are not so stable and standard. It may require us to change our approach to expenses or money, and different outcomes, they will come at different cost. But they will also come with very different returns. So maybe during the Scorpio new moon, we need to detox the old way of looking at income, assets, ego, self-respect, as well as snap out of an old traditional way of thinking of our skill set as well. The skill sets that make money for you, that create assets for you, the kind of assets you invest in, they might be going through a considerable change, but you need to evaluate the risk return. But remember that different outcomes, they will come at different cost and they will come with different returns. When your end goal is very different, the means to it cannot be standard or traditional. But again, use this moment that looks like a restriction, that looks like a delay on 10th of November and then again around 30th or 31st of October. Use those moments to do the work, to do the due diligence, to figure out the risk return. And this pressure or discipline which is being created, it might be a blessing in disguise. Blessings are sometimes in disguise of restriction, which might tell you which is the right investment for you. This pressure or discipline is felt the most by around 7 degree of Libra or around 1st of October born. In some rare cases, it can come with money or ego conflict with loved ones or with children, or some amount of investment that might come with a little bit of loss or some amount of, taking into consideration that yes, there is a part of this investment that I might lose, but you're going in with full eyes open, with full knowledge of what you might lose if you go into it, because you're looking for a different outcome from it. Sometimes we change our sources of income and the volatility comes with it, but there is also a different kind of reward that comes from it. So those reconsideration or those entrances towards the Scorpio new moon, this new start in income, salary, investment that you might be in the process of reconsidering and going forward with. That's what I have for you, Libra. Hope this was helpful. I'll see you in the next reading now. Thank you. Hi Scorpio. Scorpio time has come when each of our season we would be bit by bit moving away from our old identity. You've been seeing it since 2018. It's all meant to change and it's not always kind how it happens, but bit by bit we connect deeper to who we truly are versus whatever others believe we are meant to be. This new moon of ours is impulsive. It comes with a new bold phase which disconnects us from an old chapter of our life, how we look, our influence on other, our life role, our commitments and partnership, which will dramatically change, especially our contracted commitments to others. They will be deeply changed with it. It won't all get done at once, but surely around 13 degrees Scorpio or around 4th or 5th of November born would feel this long-lasting change that this new moon is about to bring to us. Our individuality will be brought up and a deep transformation and healing which can come through a snap a moment of surprise, a moment of suddenly moving away from the past way of being, especially when it comes to the others, that could come with this new moon. We'll find ourselves really riled up in some ways or really zest up to move out of an old phase. This is like a snap of a moment which takes us away from the old and propels us into a new phase of our life. But this process this year that we are in the process of, it does come with an additional complication, or in nice words, a growth hurdle has been introduced this year, with Saturn and Jupiter together reworking our home, family, personal life and emotional foundations. Jupiter and Saturn together, as I spoke about in the last reading in detail, they're seeding a new source of our material growth by changing us from within, through introducing us to human psychology through our own personal experiences, which most would not go near. They say where devil dares to go, a Scorpio goes, right? We gotta go there. As our home, family, place of living, it goes through this inner journey of complete rebirth. It seems to come in the way of the new phase of being all we can be that we wish to bring. Our duties, our responsibilities, our family structure, and the changes in place of living, they seem to come right when we want to launch the new version of ourselves to the outer world. And that is the resistance or the hindrance you might experience in this new moon. The break that's being put right now, which seems like a responsibility to another, is usually our own inner pattern of behaving in our personal life, the place we call home or safety zone, which needs to be overcome. A new rule book on how we feel safe, how we manage our duties to others in our life, what we call as home or the actual home and place of living, that new rule book is being tested right now on 30th or 31st of October and 10th of November. Our instincts that we have acquired through years and years of living and going through changes that have kept us safe have done both. They have kept us safe and they have also kept us limited. I think it's time to take a call. Are those fears and patterns, they're keeping us safe or they're keeping us limited and bounded, or both? Tough to stop the change, but use those very instincts to judge the risk into what you're about to plunge into. When we snap out of something and do something impulsive, we truly and irrevocably snap out of it. Before it's all so final, maybe the breaks on 30th or 31st of October and 10th of November are breaking points to check in. If this is the new identity, which is truly me, or just a way of getting away from the old me. There's nothing wrong with this step that you're taking being an intermediary step, as long as we are aware of the process we are in. Nothing wrong with taking chances, but you cannot change the outer look of a building without changing its foundation. It would crumble. And that is what this blockage is going to highlight. What's safe, what's home, what's family, those changes, along with the change you're making in your external life, in your life path, in your external looks, or your self-expression, your external life. The inner change cannot lag behind the outer change. We can do fake it till it make it, but the inner change must go along with the outer change. They have to be in sync. And if they're not in sync, you'll feel this resistance or this checkpoint on 30th or 31st of October or around 10th of November. This resistance or checkpoint will be felt the most by around 7 degrees of Scorpio, which is around 31st of October born, when this aspect is becoming exact. So that's what I have for you, Scorpio. Hope you have a great healing and a rebirth of a new moon, which will influence us and benefit us and snap us out of an old phase of our life over the course of next 1 year. We have next 1.5 years of eclipses where we will release certain old chapters of our life to grow through the others in our life. And this new moon that we're going to influence on 4th or 5th of November will be a critical step towards that. Have a great new moon ahead. I'll see you in the next reading now. Thank you. Hi Sagittarius. Sagittarius, before your season and your last eclipse of the decade in November, it's your deep need to get some restoration, some time away from the chaos, work behind the scene, manage some affairs which are hidden in the peace of it all. The Scorpio new moon brings matters linked to secrets, old love life, past life. Some secret might come to light, or a secret enemy or a secret pattern that can come into focus, a psychological complex, a deep spiritual work, or the need for a deep spiritual work, need for a healing practice, some fears, patterns like jealousy, obsessions, they might come into focus which have been hiding behind the scene. This is the time to drain the things that are holding you back, that are hidden enemies within or outside that are blocking a new phase in your life. There might be some forgiveness of the past, some amount of healing, and some spent in intimacy, in privacy that might be required at this time for you to move forward with your new moon on 4th of December, which will come with a release of an old phase in your life. Yet all of this year, you have been seeding a new commercial reality, trying to find your new voice, creating a new skill, which would become the source of your abundance for long term. And the obligation towards that new commercial reality that you have seeded this year, it might be coming in the way of you taking a step back. Are you hiding? Are you running? Or are you resting and healing? That might be a question that could be asked by people bothering you, or you at that time wanting to focus on a contract when you need a step back to handle a matter behind the scene. Not getting enough time is a norm, but it's more than that. It's even possible that internally you don't feel ready for that contract, you don't feel ready for that speaking up, you don't feel ready in some way for the new line or the new process that you're embarking upon. It is prep time. This is a past which we need to bed down, we need to put to bed before you can move forward. It could be a past failure, it could be a fear, it could be complexes which are deep rooted, which seem to come in the way of your usual optimism towards a new path you're about to go for. After a long period of struggle, that is critical, because when we have gone through a long struggle, there are a lot of complexes that we take on which become a part of our psyche, and they come in the way of moving forward to a new reality. You want universe to give you a sign that it's the right way for you to take. But it's sort of looking you back in the face, shrugging his shoulders, saying, I don't know, you are the one with all the brains. I just have the intuition and signs. So it might be time to use our intuition and the signs that are coming and evaluate them in a secluded manner to figure out whether that's the path you want to take. Secluded evaluation, peace, loss of fear, more faith in the path ahead of you, recognizing your place in this vast existence is required for you to overcome this inhibition, but it seems that chaos is calling you while you're trying to do exactly that. The phone that does not stop ringing, I don't know if you still have one of those acquaintances who want too much of you. The travel, the movement, the need to get too many things done, or too much documentation, paperwork, contract details, they might not let you go deeper and do this inner work that is required before you can do the outer work. It does not let you close the past. It does not let you end the old chapters that you want to truly move on from. It's screaming that a sacrifice is required of the old you for you to become commercially successful. And that is the hindrance or the resistance you might be experiencing now around 30th or 31st of October, and then again on 10th of November. Sometimes maybe we need to just snap out of it. Maybe that's what we need. Instead of a long-winded letting go, maybe we need this non-stop phone ringing to just quickly move us to the next phase. But see if you're not picking up that phone or those people who are calling you to the next phase, what's blocking you? What's blocking you from going there? This seemingly driving full speed with brakes on, which you are experiencing possibly right now and then again on 10th of November, might be giving you a hint of what you need to acknowledge has ended or would end as you move to this next phase of your life. Chaos is not all that bad if it pushes you to move forward versus keep reliving the patterns of the past. Structured chaos is even better. Maybe you need a moment to collect yourself before you go into that chaos. Put a break on those dates, go deeper, pause a moment, hear yourself versus the external voices. It's important that you are internally fully ready before you're externally ready. Maybe you need a faith practice, maybe you need a spiritual practice to carry you through this chaos in a more stable fashion moving forward. Your voice will not have that conviction to sell anything to anyone if you are internally not solid, if the concept is not sold to you. Maybe your skills that you need for this next chapter of your life, they need a deeper study, and that's what we need to use the period between 4th of November to 19th of November for. Periods of seclusion, of peace, to deal with private matter. It's all on your own dime though, as most of your life is. The pressure is of that dime right now. It's telling you not get lost in that restoration, release period. It is a period which should be short in some ways. Even the pleasure of hidden affairs, it is forcing you to come out of that phase as quickly as you can because we have work to do. Balance the chaos with being in hiding. Pressure is felt the most by around 7 degrees of Sagittarius or around 30th of November born. That's what I have for you, Sagittarius. I'll see you in the next reading now. Thank you. Hi Capricorn. Capricorn, the Scorpio season and the new moon always comes with a nuanced long-term goal of your life, a vision which is unique, connections which are unique, which build you up, friendships which run deep. This is your time to launch yourself in a new way socially. It could be a new social group, a new connection, a new friendship, a new platform. Look at what rewards or gains you want socially of your life. You'll find that your efforts and your social activity and vision is focused specifically on a goal, and you'll find yourself giving birth to a new social goal or a new friendship or a new connection or a new social media launch with a new moon that's coming on 4th or 5th of November. It could be out of your comfort zone. It could be you going public with something that you've been working on behind the scene, and it will require some amount of guts or snapping out of an old way of being in isolation or keeping your talents to yourself versus sharing them with a wider audience. This is especially true if you have planets around 13 degree of Capricorn or around 4th of January born. You will feel this impact beyond the 2 weeks. But this launch, this going live with something unique socially or a new social goal or a new goal of investment gains or aspirations for gains and rewards, it will come with some breaks on, and you'll experience that on 30th or 31st of October and 10th of November again. Capricorn, your vision has become different from who you were since 2018. Your circle of friends has changed dramatically too, as has changed your social ambition and aspiration. While you continue this journey of pursuit of an ideal which you want to call your legacy and live your days in the hope of the perfect tribe who wants to go there with you, the perfect set of friends, the perfect social launch, the perfect social platform, Saturn, Jupiter this year are also creating pressure to seed long-term abundance and financial sustenance of material nature for you. So this very new moon, this very impulsive launch, it comes with a pressure of financial nature or the nature of our own belief and faith in our skill set or our confidence in some way. It comes with a pressure as well as discipline, which is once in a lifetime when you're recreating your self-worth and net worth this year with Saturn, Jupiter together. And as I mentioned in the last reading, this pressure will continue on your self-worth and net worth as you create the new structure of both all the way till 2023. This could be a pressure which is financial in nature, which could be a discipline which is being laid on you, and it might be blocking you from taking some amount of impulsive gains or impulsive investment of financial nature. It does come, this financial pressure and discipline that you're facing this year, it does come with once in lifetime of opportunities of gains as well. The skills we cultivate, as well as the self-respect or the healthy ego you are cultivating under the influence of Saturn and Jupiter, both in your house of finances, self-worth and net worth, they will serve you for long run. They're creating a new rule book of expenses, of ego, of healthy ego, of self-confidence. But that very new rule book of financial nature, of self-worth, might be coming right now in the way of your impulsive connections, you opening up to a large set of people, your social goals, this new impulsive or unique friendship or connection that is coming your way, this social endeavor which is very unique in nature, this new vision, this new legacy, this new friendship or this new connection that you're trying to create. It could also be a new deeper contract or new deeper connection with a friend or a sibling or a mentor that might be under dispute of a financial nature, or you might not be going in because it's not financially enough for you. This can manifest very well in the form of money or ego conflict with a friend, with a sibling, or a social goal that is not going to pay you enough as you want, or the social evaluation of your existing skills not being enough, or your own self-worth not being, which is blocking you. Sometimes we don't value our skill set enough, and that does not let us go full on when it comes to a social launch. Something is not letting you take this dive into the social goal, social network, social scene, friendship fully. Something is blocking you, and it's your ruler, Saturn, sitting in your house of self-worth and net worth, that is asking you to evaluate, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Does it serve me well? There might be a change in tribe, your social network, your social goal. It comes at a cost. Change in vision comes at a cost. A legacy you want to create, it comes at a cost. Sometimes it comes at financial cost. Sometimes it comes at a cost of changing skill set. Sometimes it comes at a cost of our own ego. Sometimes it comes at the cost of our own well-being. So this Saturn, your ruler, is your friend. He's trying to block you sometimes before you take an impulsive move of lending money to somebody, or going in full on a social group, or launching yourself on a social network, or joining a set of people who are completely unique and different from you, or taking an impulsive investment risk, because Saturn wants you to be sure that you are doing what is in line with what is good for you financially, emotionally, in your self-worth, as well as in your health, because our body is an asset as well. Gains that come through investments of monetary nature, they sometimes come through money being put in. Connections with right kind of people, they sometimes come with expenses, or they sometimes come from a place of more self-respect as well. Because if we value ourselves enough or think of our skill set up to the mark, we connect with those kind of people as well. You might be facing a gap between these two, your social aspirations and where you stand right now when it comes to money, self-worth and net worth. Where we feel right now not valued enough by another, it's possible that we ourselves are not valuing ourselves. Some of this resistance can be overcome by our own inner reworking, which we might be in the process of doing right now. And then again on 10th of November, we'll get an opportunity to talk about it, work through it. But some might need a change of an external nature. Change could be in form of honing the skills to make them more valuable, to have the kind of impact you want, or have the kind of rewards and gains you're looking for. Or it could be in form of you finding the right balance of healthy ego and forming deeper connections with others. Sometimes our ego, it's healthy ego that we're developing, but at the same time that can block us from doing what needs to be done to connect with others on a deeper fashion. Because sometimes we need help from others and our ego might be blocking us from doing that. Sometimes we need to ask others to buy our products, and something within you might be blocking you to do that. Sometimes we need to ask a mentor for help, but something within you might be holding you back from it. Sometimes the external change is in form of changing the audience itself of your talents or skills. Sometimes it is changing the actual physical mode of social media or network or team or connections that you're using to earn the kind of money you want. Sometimes the network that you're leveraging may not be who can take you where you want to go. Sometimes it's changing the investments. If you want your money to work harder than it has so far, sometimes it's a change in investment. But again, we'll have to change some amount of our risk-taking capability to get there. Use this push and pull, or the ego conflict, or the inhibition you feel socially or financially in the moment to evaluate whether you need to change your investments, you need to change your tribe, your connections, or you need to change the way you're approaching your audience if you're trying to make an impact on social media or through connections. See if there are skills that you need to acquire to have the kind of impact on the audience you want. What you wish to create, show, and launch is very unique and tough to stop, but it may change structurally in form through this re-evaluation or the breaks that are being put on 30th of October, 31st of October, and then again 10th of November, especially in presentation and wording or in nature of investment in my view. It becomes more valuable, it becomes more impactful, but through some pressure. This pressure will be especially felt by around 7 degree of Capricorn, which is around 29th of December born. The new moon that is happening around 13 degree of Capricorn or around 4th of January born. But the pressure will be felt the most in my view because Saturn right now would be aspecting that degree around 7 degree or around 29th of December born, where some amount of financial discipline or even ego conflict might be blocking you to move forward in this impulsive move. So that's what I have for you, Capricorn. Hope this was helpful. I'll see you in the next reading now. Hi Aquarius. The Scorpio new moon is a critical one for you because it acts on your critical axis of public life, career, and external life. There is a new bold phase in your external life or a change in career, or maybe a surprise in form of change of bosses or structure of organization, a change in public title, reputation, or relationship with authority, or an intense transformation of your public life which might be on the cards with the new moon that's coming in November. This is especially very critical for around 13 degree of Aquarius or around 3rd of February born who would feel the impact beyond the 2 weeks from 4th of November to 19th of November Aquarius. But this new phase in career, it comes at a cost of some amount of personal freedom or freedom of self-expression of some sort. It's a new bold phase, a new responsibility, a new change when it comes to your external life, but it comes at a cost with either complying to someone or under some rules which seem to restrict your self-expression or make you feel not as free as you would like. Saturn and Jupiter this year, they are seeding a source of your long-term abundance, and it's a rebirth of your identity, which is coming at a cost of personal freedom and sometimes spontaneity. Sometimes that's needed to be powerful, what's needed to be impactful in our external life, it does conflict with who we inherently are or were. You would need to use this moment of blockage, which could be a restriction or coming under the thumb of an authority figure or a rule or some inhibition in self-expression which might come on 30th or 31st of October and 10th of November to see if it's the right career choice for you or not. Or do we need to find a new way to handle the authority figures, the dominant parents or the bosses of our life? Because how well we handle authority figures, it is an important factor which will become for your career success. It will be an important factor for your career success as you become the authority of your own life, which you are becoming with Saturn coming in your sign all the way till 2023. This bold phase in your external life might still be blocked by your past sense of self or some sort of inner inhibition in self-expression that you might have, which Saturn wants you to change for your next phase in life, and this pressure forces you out of not speaking up when you need to be an authority when it comes to your personal life or professional life. How we choose to show up to external world might need to change for the kind of impact you're looking to make. All maturity is not fake. It just means that you're a different person or a different season of life as compared to where you were earlier. For a different season of life, a different external expression of ourselves is required. Your looks, your way of presentation, how we dress, it's all part of an impact that we make. It's not all fake or superficial. It's all part of our self-expression. So use this period of slowdown or conflict or break which you might experience on 30th of October, 10th of November to find a new way to handle authority. Know that some changes in self-expression are called for when it comes to the next phase of your external life, and how we look, how we choose to dress or speak up, they're all part of our self-expression. They're all part of our external identity, which is going through a very dramatic change with this. This is a rebirth of your external identity, how you show up as an authority, how you manage your duties when it comes to your professional life and when it comes to your personal title as well. Know that an impulsive, bold, brave move that you're making in career, it might come at a cost. It would always come with a need for self-discipline, which is never a problem for you. But yes, sometimes it would mean that we would need to change our words, change our messaging. Not to be fake, not to lie, but to make our messaging more palatable for whom we wish to convince, which could be an authority figure, or whom we wish to earn from, which could be a corporate. Now, there is a significant drive for achievement here. You really want to dive into this new phase, but it will come with some amount of friction and inner blockage, which we would need to overcome before we can dive in full form. Don't think of it as friction. Don't think of it as objection. Don't think of it as a obligation which is blocking you. Think of this as a mode in which you need to show up differently as compared to you have in the past. Think of this as a test drive of the new phase that you're entering into, in which you would require to show up, speak up in a different fashion and handle the authority figures, whether they are in your personal life or professional life, in a very different fashion as compared to how you have done before. This resistance or hindrance or discipline or pressure from an authority figure will be felt the most by around 7 degree of Aquarius or around 29th of January born. In some rare cases, there could be a duty or obligation we have to another, which can come in the way of our thing, what we want to do, our self-expression, because of something that we owe in terms of a karmic obligation to a parent, to a dominant parent, to an authority figure. It can come in the way of us putting a foot down and doing what we truly want for our own visibility. And we'll need to overcome that hesitance. We'll need to overcome that resistance as well. So that's what I have for you, Aquarius. I'll see you in the next reading now. Thank you. Hi Pisces. Pisces, the Scorpio season comes with a promise of adventure, travel, publication, foreign affairs, and all the things that make you take a leap of faith and dive into that innate sense of adventure. This can come with some surprises though. It could be a surprise adventure, a surprise travel, or a very unique and impactful publication or an expansive step that you're taking, which is a leap of faith and away from norm. This could be expansion through travel of the mind or body, or by taking a new bold step which is expansive for your career. Teaching what you know, publishing your higher knowledge or work of impact, or working in a foreign country on a foreign contract with people who are completely different from you, with foreign people, or advertising or creating intensely provocative media content which can be transformative for many. This is especially influential for around 13 degree of Pisces or around 3rd of March born, who will feel the impact beyond the 2 weeks. But these adventures do take you out of your depth for those heights that come at a cost. They come at the cost of overcoming your fears, your personal time, peace, comfort, sleep, and time for spiritual and charity related pursuits. Your life's work that you've been working behind the scene that might come in the way of this adventure which is impulsive that you're about to take. Saturn and Jupiter have been keeping you busy behind the scene all of this year as you and private might be seeding the source of your next chapter of growth, and they have taken you to the depths of your complexes to drain out whatever has been blocking your forward move. But what's the point of the depth if we cannot bring it to the heights to teach what you know now or practice what we have learned? And that is the point of conflict that might be in the process. What's the point of the release and the inner work that we have done if we cannot leap after? You would feel ready for this adventure, yet something invisible might be blocking you, and it's the unhandled part of your inner complexes or a fear which needs to now be fully and finally irrevocably unchained to let go to move forward. Some of it are your natural instincts or intuition which is telling you to be sure before you leap in. They're putting the brakes in form of a slowdown on 30th of October or 10th of November because maybe we need to consider the things clearly or work a bit more in isolation to get things ready. Deal with private matters to get clarity. Balance our altruistic side with our adventurous side. It is a bit of faith in the dark time, yet we must use the opportunity and the discipline or the pressure we are being given to separate the fear from intuition, separate the guidance from baggage of the past, not dive into a shallow adventure that does not fill us up, or worse, takes us away from our life's work. We use those moments to evaluate, to add depths to heights, unchain ourselves from past pattern, but doesn't mean we don't dive in. Maybe though, after the work has been done, the adventure, the publication, the connection, the platform that you're launching, the foreign assignment that you're signing up to, the relocation, the foreign visa process or the country you're moving to, or the foreign association or the contract that you're about to get into, maybe it would look very different, or a conviction in it would be different after the process of 30th, 31st of October and 10th of November. In some cases, we see more than what others see. We see far beyond just the leap. We see the depth and we see the height. And this resistance gives us the discipline to put that idea into the paper to present to others. Complete that book, write that publication, create that media output, beef up our conviction in the idea or that paperwork for relocation or legal matter that you might be working on. Use this to get as real as possible versus it just being a whim of leap. Make it substantial. Open the eyes of those who only see the mundane. Show them the realities of a world beyond the logical thinking that you are able to see. This discipline of the mind would be felt very strongly by around 7 degree of Pisces or around 27th of February born. That's what I have for you, Pisces. I'll see you in the next reading now. Thank you.